California Dreams, Enrolling Jerry Maryland and the Jimmy Piersall autograph quest. I have always felt a particular tenderness for the California sequences, the way the series quietly relocates the entire machinery of Lucy's chaos from the familiar streets of Danfield to a landscape of palm trees, military schools, and marine spectacles without ever losing the essential pressure of her determination. The transition is handled with the same matter-of-fact brightness that once accompanied a tax refund and a single share of stock. Lucy has moved west to be nearer her daughter in college, and the practical consequence is that her son Jerry must now be enrolled in a private school that can board him during the week so that she may seek employment. The decision is presented without sentimentality. It is simply the next necessary adjustment in a life that has never remained still for long. The interview with Major Grayson is a master class in the collision between institutional formality and Lucy's particular brand of improvisational honesty. The Major is played with the crisp, slightly bewildered authority of a man who has spent years admitting boys according to established protocols and who now finds himself confronted by a mother whose application letter was finished in crayon because the typewriter ribbon broke and the pen had been borrowed for school. I would have typed the whole letter, but the ribbon broke. I wanted to finish it in ink, but Jerry borrowed my pen for school. All right, anyway, I think better in crayon. Ball delivers the explanation with complete sincerity. There is no embarrassment. There is only the practical acknowledgement that the tools available were the tools that were used. When the Major attempts to soothe her by invoking Abraham Lincoln in the back of a paper bag, Lucy's reply is pure, unfiltered realism. Yeah, but it wasn't as tough to get a kid in school in those days. The conversation that follows reveals the full economic and emotional logic of the move. Lucy lives on a modest trust fund left by her husband. The expense of a daughter in college has made the boarding of Jerry a practical necessity if she is to find work. Her previous employment history: secretary, cashier, telephone operator, sales lady, waitress, librarian, all within a 2-week period in New York, is offered as evidence of adaptability rather than instability. It was a matter of adjustment. New York just doesn't seem to adjust to some people. The line is one of the great quiet jokes of the sequence, a small acknowledgement that the city failed her more than she failed the city. Ball plays the entire exchange with a mixture of dignity and mild desperation that never quite tips into pathos. She is not asking for charity, she is asking for admission. Jerry's own contribution to the interview is pure, unfiltered childhood calculation. He selected the school because the letter mentioned baseball, football, horseback riding, and a swimming pool. The academic subjects, mathematics, history, English, geography, Latin, were not advertised and are therefore treated as regrettable fine print. When Lucy adds that he batted .298 in Little League and would have batted over .300 if not for bad umpiring, the Major's polite interest is met by Jerry's immediate correction. "Mom, you're not supposed to say that." "Why not? It's just not bigly." The invented adverb is a tiny perfect detail, the sound of a child who has almost remembered the correct adult prohibition and has decided that near accuracy is sufficient. The discovery that the transfer slip is currently serving as a repository for bubble gum produces one of the sequence's purest physical laughs. "What? It's only bubble gum. Terribly sorry. Oh, don't worry about it. We are experts at removing gum and scraping peanut butter off homework papers." The Major's reassurance is delivered with the calm of a man who has seen every possible form of childhood debris and has developed institutional methods for its removal. Ball's apology is genuine and completely insufficient. The paperwork is accepted. Jerry is admitted. The future has been secured by a combination of crayon bubblegum and sheer maternal insistence. The subsequent determination to obtain Jimmy Piersall's autograph at Marineland is pure Lucy logic. Jerry must not be the only boy on the baseball team who lacks the signature of his favorite player. The practical obstacles, bus fare timing, the fact that Jerry has not yet been officially enrolled, are brushed aside with the same cheerful force that once dismantled a kitchen in pursuit of a mystery sound. When Mr. Mooney, now inexplicably also relocated to California, and once again in charge of her trust fund, is enlisted as transportation, the reunion is played with the dry recognition of two people who cannot seem to escape each other even across an entire continent. "What are you doing out here in California anyway?" Well, last week, the bankers down in Danfield were shifting various executives around, and well, I was given two choices and I chose the state of California. What was the other choice? The state of unemployment. The encounter with Jimmy Piersall himself is handled with the series' characteristic blend of awe and domestic comedy. Lucy's introduction is formal and slightly nervous. Jerry's grip is strong. The request for an autograph produces a small crisis of spelling that Ball stages with meticulous attention to the social embarrassment of a mother who must spell her own surname in public. When Lucy advises the outfielder on how to convince his manager to let him pitch, the advice is offered with the same absolute confidence she once brought to the improvement of bank security protocols. Piersall's polite acceptance of the counsel is one of the quiet comic treasures of the sequence. The whale show that follows is the great physical climax of the California adventure. Lucy's determination to retrieve Jerry's dropped ball leads her into the water at the precise moment when Bubbles the patriotic whale is unfurling the American flag. The fall is staged with the full commitment Ball always brought to aquatic disaster. The cries for Mr. Mooney, Mr. Morty, come and get me. Mr. Booty. Help me escalate through every possible mispronunciation of his name while the audience of schoolboys and the Major look on in institutional horror. The eventual rescue and the Major's decision to enroll Jerry immediately because I think you'll be a lot safer with us provide the sequence with its perfect comic resolution. The school that had required transfer slips and formal interviews now accepts the boy on the grounds that his mother is a clear and present danger to public marine spectacles. I have returned to this long California passage across many years, and each time the emotional current runs in a slightly different direction. There are days when the enrollment interview feels like a quiet portrait of maternal determination under economic pressure. There are other days when the Marineland disaster feels like pure liberated slapstick the series, allowing Ball to fall into water with the same joyful abandon she once brought to grape vats and conveyor belts. What remains constant is the sense that Lucy's hunger to secure her children's place in the world is as powerful as any of her earlier hungers for stock ownership or radio recognition. The methods remain chaotic. The commitment remains absolute. The cultural context of the early to mid-1960s quietly deepens the resonance. California still occupied a particular place in the national imagination as the landscape of reinvention of new schools and new climates and the possibility that a life might be restarted under brighter light. Lucy's relocation is therefore not merely a plot convenience. It is a small assertion of the right to begin again even when the beginning requires crayon letters, bubblegum transfer slips, and an unexpected swim with a patriotic whale. Ball plays the assertion without sentimentality and without protection. She simply becomes the woman who will do whatever the new landscape requires, and in becoming her she creates a sequence that continues to feel both completely of its moment and strangely timeless. Even now when I return to the image of Lucy disappearing into the Marineland tank while the American flag is being unfurled by a whale, I feel the same mixture of delight and protective concern that the scene has always inspired. The enrollment has been secured. The autograph has been obtained. The trust fund remains under Mooney's reluctant supervision. And somewhere in the California sun, the next ordinary disaster is already preparing itself. Lucille Ball never asked us to believe that the move west would bring stability. She only asked us to recognize the human necessity of the attempt, and to accept that even a fall into a whale tank can still feel like a form of progress if the children's future is at stake. In the bright, slightly salt-stained light of that California afternoon, the entire adventure reaches one of its purest and most physical expressions, and I have never grown tired of watching the water close over her head.